So let's talk about employee engagement within the Criterion HCM solution. I'm going to navigate over to the employee self-service within Criterion. I have already logged in as an employee. Employee engagement is really about giving employees the information they need when they need it, and then making it easy for them to find it. Criterion HCM was built around the idea that many companies have multiple generations and that some are very computer literate and others are not. So we designed our employee self-service portal with different viewpoints to make it easy to navigate across a greater spectrum of people. And you can decide who can see what within self-service. For this presentation, I've turned on all features, but you can decide to introduce things all at once or over time. And you can decide which individual groups can see certain functions or do certain functions within self-service. There is no distinction between employee and manager self-service. Everything is accessible as a manager. You can access your personal information, but then you also have access to your employees' information as well. Front and center, you'll see the news feeds. You can have news feeds for everyone or groups of employees. Use it to inform people of company announcements, upcoming company events, client successes, or company videos with the ability to add text, attachments, links, and likes and feedback. The options to keep everyone informed are virtually endless. To the left and right, there are tiles. These tiles are unique to the employee and can be universal to all employees or turned off completely. On the far right, you can build surveys to get employee feedback on whatever you're wanting to know. These can be anonymous to ensure higher rates of response, and then consolidated to give you a holistic view of the across the employment body. Notifications are alerts that tell an employee or manager that they have a task to perform. These notifications can also be emails or SMS texts to make sure everyone gets the message. They can also see their upcoming time off, company events, or the next payroll cycle, or view their latest pay date information. To the right, there are their task lists. These can be employee-specific task lists, such as onboarding tasks, workflow-related tasks, such as approving time off or timesheets, or approving submitted documents or forms. Or they may be needing to complete a performance evaluation, whether that evaluation is a self-review, a manager review, or they are participating in a 360 review cycle. If the evaluations are annual, semi-annual, or more frequent, the system can accommodate and send reminders when the review period begins. If the person is involved in compensation management, they'll receive a confidential spreadsheet that allows them to allocate merit increases and bonuses based on the employee's current pay within the acceptable range, the date of last raise, and last performance rating. All the employee time off is accrued and tracked. Employees can view their time off taken, request time off, and track the approval process. Simply by clicking on their calendar, they are able to view all of their time taken. And of course, they can scroll over and see what those particular icons mean. Of course, there is the legend to the right that helps them. Then they can simply request time off. Time off balances are accrued based on an employee's group's plans. These can include carryover into a new year. They can go into the negative. They can go into the negative a certain amount, okay? Or they have to use that carryover by a certain particular time. Once a particular request has been approved, it will automatically populate the employee's timesheet as well as the time off calendar for other employees and managers to review. External links can be set up to allow employees to go to other areas or other systems that you might have so that you can create a single landing page for everything related to the employee's job. On the far left are these icons. Each icon represents various selections that this employee is allowed to go to. You'll notice under time, not only is my time off and timesheets and so forth there, but because this individual is a manager, also are displayed is the team, his team information around time offs, timesheets, and attendance and availability. I can always open this up to provide even more detail, and I don't have to use the icons in case I don't remember the clock means time. I can open that up and it will show me all those time menus that I can go through. I can certainly see my pay information. If allowed, I can enter in my banking information. I can submit expense reports. Okay. I can see my pay history over time. And even in this individual, I can come back and look back into past years and see all the information related to all the pay periods in which I was paid. I can simply click on a particular pay period, and then I can also download this as a PDF. I can see all my benefits. I can see my learning that's coming up, those classes that I'm actively involved in or should be taking soon. I can see those classes that I've completed. And I can also track my team. If you have a learning director on staff, this could be the entire organization, and they can view upcoming time offs as well as those, maybe even more importantly, those that are past due. I can look for particular course information or employees as well. I can even be given an instructor portal if I happen to be an internal instructor, but we also have accommodation for external instructors. Those people will have access to those classes where they will have a class roster and then be able to check attendance as well as the performance of all individuals during that class. Performance, you can see all the information around performance, my history of my reviews, as well as my team reviews. I can also keep journals. I can keep my own journal. This can be notes of things that I want to bring up at my next performance evaluation. But then I can also, as a manager, set journals up for each individual employee so I can track information that I want to bring up with them. Those journals can be, entries can be made public, or they can be maintained as private records. If you want to, you can have goals set by the individual, obviously going through an approval process as they set their goals for the coming evaluation period. And I, as a manager, can set my team goals. Or you can have corporate goals that are cascaded down to all employees. If I'm part of the recruiting process, the information about all those jobs that I have posted will show up here. I can simply come in here and I can go into these particular job postings. I can see all of the job posting information, as well as all those candidates that have applied. I can drill in and you'll see across the details that I can have demographics, do the interview, see the resume, see how they responded to questions, their cover letter, and so forth. If I am part of the interview, I will get an iCal that will be set up, and you'll notice here that now I have the ability to add notes as I'm going through the interview process in regards to certain qualifications or competencies that we wish to track and talk about during the interview process so that we get a consistent interview evaluation. I can see all the information about my career, as well as my formal education, any skills I wish to add, and certifications that I wish to add as well. I can come in here and see these along with the expiration dates, but I can also add a particular certification that I have that I can attach and show people that I have, been certified in this particular skill. You'll notice here that it also has an issue date, potentially an expiration date. So you can also use this to track driver's license, vaccinations, anything that you want to track that has an expiration date that you want to be able to report on and be notified of when certain, expiration dates are coming close. I have available my employment history. As you may recall from the administrative side of things, this is also going to list out just simply everything that's happened to me throughout this entire my lifetime with the organization, the beginning and ending dates of everything from merit increases to promotions and so forth. Just a note here that I can have multiple positions, and each one of those multiple positions can come with a different pay rate. If I move between those pay rates, those positions in my timesheet, I will be allocated and paid those certain rates in payroll. I have other personal information. I can add and change contacts and dependents, my address, anything that you have here that you would like people to change. It can always go through an approval process. You can allow me to access my own documents, company documents, as well as my team documents. But you'll notice here that I have company videos, and I can also provide reusable forms. So if I wish to, request a job change and you have a form that you want to use for that, certainly that could be brought into the system. There could be a way for that employee to fill it out, and then upon completing it, it'll go through a workflow that may require approvals, and it goes to whoever you designate. Finally, I want to point out one last thing in settings. One of the things that we do like to talk about is the fact that we provide a high level of security, but you can even have employees go more. You have two-factor authentication that can be set up individually. We also have chatbots that provide people to request information through a chatbot if they choose to. They can change their password. If you're not on single sign-on capabilities, you can set up the ground rules around that password about upper, lowercase, special characters, numbers, and so forth. And then things around being, having to reset their password in a certain amount of time. They can set up their own calendars. If they're a manager, they can delegate their responsibilities for a period of time if they're out on vacation and so forth. And then finally, they have the ability to select the language that they choose. So if they choose to, they can convert this into another language simply by choosing that other language and refreshing the screen. And then we will come back and we will see things have changed over into the various language that, or the specific language that they chose. So that is a little bit about the employee engagement as well as self-service.